We are live. This is my house. This is my YouTube channel. This is my red wall. Oh man, it was a crazy few days for me doing mixed martial arts analysis, the thing that I like. I'm very tired because I've been traveling all around. I'll tell you about it in a second. I want to tell you early here, if other people ask in this feed later and they didn't hear this, very early. I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't have any further footage of McGregor sparring with Paulie Malignaggi. I want to tell you what I did see, because I know some people came here to hear that. I'm going to do some more analysis, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the video I saw. What I saw, I just started doing some cool work for the UFC, which I love, and I want to work there. Lots more. So I'm not going to tell you anything crazy. I'm not going to tell you any secrets. People who follow it know that there is video out there that McGregor pulled to offer to Showtime. McGregor pulled the video from his video and said, hey, Showtime, look, you can use this. And Showtime said, nah, we're not going to use this. That's what I saw. Someday I didn't see anything secret. People know about this footage. People know where it came from, what it is. That's what I saw. I'll tell you about that. And, you know, it's clips and bits, and it's stuff that Conor liked. So obviously it's going to be pretty good. And it was cool to see. So let me tell you where I was as much as I can and what I was doing. I'm very tired. If I look tired, it's because I am tired. Like my Circus cup. Back in Vegas on Tuesday for McGregor analysis for TSN. So here's what was happening. I've been working on this documentary. I was working on this documentary of GSP's comeback. Still working on that. And it's been fun. George is a genius. I love it. Being around George St. Pierre, being around Firas, you learn a lot from these incredible minds. So I'm getting ready to go on Thursday. And I get this call from Vegas. And they're like, Dana really likes your analysis on your YouTube channel. Hi, Dana. Thanks, man. And he would like you to do, I can't tell you, I'm not going to give away any secrets. I'm not going to get myself in trouble. But he would like you to do some of your analysis on a 4 or 5 minute analysis breakdown style thing for a big thing that we're doing next week. Can't tell you what it is. I don't know if I'm allowed, but I'll tell you when I'm allowed. So I was busy. Thursday I was interviewing George and then shooting him training at night, and then Saturday I was interviewing Firas, and I'm like, okay, look what we can do. Friday morning 5 a.m. I can fly to Vegas. We can shoot it all day, and then I'll fly home that night, and I'll get in at 10:30 in the morning and just go straight to TriStar and interview Firas. So that's what we did. That's why I'm so tired. When you're traveling that much and you're doing that much stuff, you got to drink tons and tons of water, no beer at all, nothing like that, and then eat really healthy. If you do that, you can make it. Okay, so that was the deal. So there is a breakdown/analysis piece of me on Conor McGregor and what he's doing and what he's trying to accomplish. He'll be out next week. I'll tell you about it when I'm allowed. Very excited. What I can tell you is while I was there, my friends Matt De La Rosa and Anthony Petosa, who work in production, they also got me to contribute to 3 top 10 shows that are going to air on Fox Sports 1 and a special on Francis Ngannou. So while I was there to do a piece, I did 4 UFC shows while I was there. So congrats to me. I'm doing a bunch of shit for the UFC, which I've been wanting to do for a long time because I love that shit and I love fighting and I love Dana and yeah, so we're super pumped. All right, somebody just said, what have I missed? Tell him what he missed. But what you didn't miss is I do not have any new footage. I have seen the footage that McGregor sent to Showtime. The Showtime footage that he was like, hey, why don't you guys use this? And as most people probably know, again, I'm not going to give you any secrets. I'm going to give you analysis. As most people probably know, Showtime was like, Paulie's our guy. He's our analyst. And this is all video of you kicking his ass. Because it is. If you're McGregor, think about it. This isn't some fucking heavy analysis. If you're Conor McGregor, what footage are you going to select? It's going to be shit of you hitting hard. You drilling Paulie. Okay, so there's lots more footage. This, I think, again, I'm not giving away any secrets. Anybody who thinks the only thing that landed was that one left where Paulie's sweat went flying everywhere, and then the stuff inside where Paulie fell, pushed, knocked down, was already buzzed, which is actually probably the most truth. Paulie's already fucked up, you know. But what I can tell you, so what can I tell you? analysis. So the analysis itself, the analysis, you know, I've been talking about the big picture. Conor wants to disrupt. This isn't about boxing. Boxing is this. Boxing is a collection of beliefs that have been shoehorned together, living in a vacuum where everybody thinks the same. All these boxing minds think the same. The boxing coaches, the young boxers, boxing itself, boxing analysts. My friend Russ, I'm going to Vegas with him. He's a boxing expert. He will be part of the TSN coverage. And he was like, well, one thing Conor did well was the wide shot with the against the orthodox fighter from the left hand. So if that, and I'm not criticizing Russ, he's a cool guy and I can't wait to work with him. We're going to make some great television on TSN. But Russ, and I don't know if you're watching, but I kind of think you are. Hey, dude, what's up? If we all agree that is good technique against that, it's fucking bullshit. Again, I'm gonna use the one example that we use a lot, and no disrespect, please, to anybody who says this or uses this, but when the southpaw's fighting the orthodox fighter, it's a battle of front foot dominance. When the front foot, the person with the front foot on the outside will have the direct line with their power shot. Forever? No matter what else happens? All I have to do to beat Alistair Overeem is keep my fucking foot on the front outside? That's just bullshit. That is one element that can be true, but if we both think it's true and we both act out that dance, that is the bullshit of the doctrines of any martial art. So again, I'll tell you what what I can tell you about the Paulie footage is we saw a lot more of the same. So what I'm going to give you is analysis on what I saw. Can I describe it to you? Yeah, there was more punches. With more pulling, a lot more of the same. But what I can tell you is what pattern it gave me. But what I'm trying to give you is the doctrines of the martial arts. And I know I've talked about this a lot. I've talked about it enough. I wanted to talk about it a lot because I wanted it to be the fucking conversation. Not just my conversation, but the conversation of the broadcast and the conversation of writers and the conversation of other analysts. And I don't care. I don't want them to go, Robin Black says it's a... Although John Kavanaugh made a post today and he said, Robin Black would call this a disruption. That's very kind because I did obviously spearhead this thinking. But it's not my thinking. It's fucking Bruce Lee's thinking. It's Elon Musk's thinking. It's a million people's thinking. But if we agree that the battle of Southpaw versus Orthodox is where our front foot is, the disruptive thinking is he believes it's about this front foot. His belief that it's about this front foot lets me anticipate his actions. If I put my foot on the inside and I make him think he's winning a battle there, he's going to throw his right hand. And if he throws his right hand or right kick, I'm fucking ready for it. I'll actually get what I want. I want to slip counter his right hand. I can make that happen because this fucking dummy believes it's only about the placement of that front foot. Do you follow what I'm saying? I'll give you one more example of this. And I'll use this not because this is a part of this game with McGregor versus Mayweather, although it's Southpaw versus Orthodox. I give you it to illustrate this dogmatic thinking, right? So... and if everybody's agreeing, and which is why analysis itself is such fucking bullshit a lot of the times, and I'm a part of this. I know I played a part in Lawrence Kenshin, Jack Slack, people like us. We purposefully and publicly said we're tired of hearing gossip about fighting. We want people to analyze fighting. We want people to know what fighting is. And we spearheaded a movement, BJJ Scout, another big, huge, gigantic part of that. So this is our fucking fault. But when things are discussed as absolutes, that's where the problem lies. That's where you know these people are fucking stupid. And they're 10 years behind in their thinking. And they're ready. You can exploit them. You can disrupt them. You disrupt people who believe that the A plus B always equals C. You come around the back door and you do some other thing. So when you see analysis, somebody says, well, son, the puncher must do this, and then if this man puts himself there, he will line. It's nonsense, because if you believe that's so, and I know you believe that's so, that's when I can beat you, okay? So it's, why does this work? Because if what you're saying, the dogma or doctrines of boxing or karate or whatever, if what you're saying is what you believe, I can predict certain actions from you. So one last example, Andrei Arlovsky. I've used this a bunch of times. I got a couple breakdown videos of it. Alistair Overeem. He did it against Arlovsky, and he's done it against others. He's sitting here. So you are seeing him. Here's his shoulder here. Arlovsky's fucking sticks his head over here with his front foot inside all day long. Why? His head is always, so this square is what you see of me. I got my Monster Zim shirt on. Check them out, monsterzim.com. They're an awesome company. I love these people. So he's here like this, and his head is over here. Now, if you see my head over here, you're going to kick it with your right leg. You're going to punch it with your right hand. My foot is on the inside. I'm breaking the rules. You've got lead foot dominance, and my head is in this bad position because it's there on purpose. And here's the problem. We have one of three main actions you take. You punch me with your right hand, which I'm ready for, and I want you to do. Or you kick me with your right foot. Maybe in step knee, but essentially you kick me with your right foot. There's other things, but main big ones. Or you do nothing. Why would you do nothing? Because you know I'm fucking trapping you. You know it's an invitation. You know I'm saying, punch me with your right hand, and here's you. Wants me to punch him with my right hand. Fuck. And now you know if I do this, he's gonna slip out here and come over top, or he's got some other oh fuck! Man, that's a trap. Can I kick him with my right leg? Shit, he wants me to kick him. Now I start doing nothing. Alistair got guys doing that a ton. All that is their belief system is being exploited. Right? So this is what we've been talking about with Conor's thinking, is the flaws. And this isn't, as much as for the fun, I'm like, boxing experts. This shouldn't be directed at them. Or boxers, or boxing, shouldn't be directed at them. The same exact thing was true of karate people. The same exact thing is true of people who do kung fu. You don't have to just point out the ones where the guy touches the guy and he goes flying. There's belief systems there. They operate in a vacuum. But the best example would be Muay Thai. Why is that the best example? There are others, but it's one of the other good ones that works here. Because boxing and Muay Thai, the reason they have less of these flaws or openings, or their doctrines are less, have less seams with which you can exploit them, is because they developed in combat. Right? So when you go to train karate or you go to train kung fu, you do spar. Notice with other karate people doing karate. And I don't want to pick on martial arts, but Aikido only works against somebody agreeing to do Aikido. And I know Aikido people don't get mad at me. I know there's some good things in there. I know there's some good principles in there. But if I walk up and punch that guy in the face, Aikido is not the same thing. I kick him in the nuts. It's like, well, you should have grabbed me like this. It's like, it doesn't work that way. Grab my wrist. My wrist. Other wrist. It's a thing, right? So, but boxing and Muay Thai didn't develop they developed in a vacuum of other people doing boxing and Muay Thai, but they got tested in real battle. They fucking fight. Boxing's a beautiful sport, incredible sport. They fight each other, drill each other in the fucking head. Because of that, because the combat is real combat, it leaves less spaces for bullshit. Right? So there are still spaces because we're still agreeing we box a certain way. When you talk to a boxing expert or a boxer or a boxing coach, you say, oh, don't do that. Never do that. Or always make sure you do this. The nevers and the alwayses are where the seams are. Because if you never throw this a certain way, it's never done. It's never trained for. And defensive systems ignore it. They start to ignore it. It's stupid. We don't have to address that. It's wrong. So our systems start to operate in a thing where everybody else boxes. And that debate of what is boxing has been one of the most challenging ones. Boxing is a collection of rules and outlines, guidelines, gloves, ring, round length. This is boxing. The techniques used is a martial art. And that's another weird thing. Boxing somehow doesn't understand that it is like every other martial art in the world. It's very highly developed, very devastating, technically excellent. It's turned into one of the most beautiful martial arts in history. but it is still a martial art. And in the development, and so I spent some real good time with Faraz the other day. I think he's going to put something up about this video, and I told him what I've seen of the additional footage with McGregor and Paulie. And Faraz and I were talking about it, and he gave me some great examples. So he's buying into the idea too. He's a brilliant man, brilliant man. I just love watching him coach. I love training from him. I love talking to him, but I also like watching him think. You know, you can see shit's going on in there. But he gave me some great examples in the world of wrestling. You know, for hundreds of years, this happens, and then one guy comes along and he grabs a low single, and fucking wrestling changes. Thousands of years, really. They wrestled in the original Olympics. They wrestled in, I'm going to say 600 BC, but that doesn't sound right. my years history of the Olympics is very skewed. But yeah, you wrestle forever, and one guy tries something different, and everything changes. And I'm sorry, I'm adjusting this. And one of the examples that I used last time we talked here was Steph Curry. It's a simple example. He shoots 3 points from somewhere no one ever shoots. If no one ever shoots from there, the defenses ignore that. That's what McGregor is doing. Okay, that's what he's and stick with me. That's what he's attempting to do. And I don't want, actually it won't matter. I'm taking 3 days off with my wife after this. So I was going to say, I don't want to get shitloads of fucking tweets from people who see Black, he lost. Doesn't matter if he wins or loses. I never tell you who's going to win, because I never know, because nobody knows. Oh man, this is a tough pick. Make your pick. Pick! You mean randomly pick one, and then the people the 50% who were correct? It doesn't make any sense. Don't ask me for picks. Actually, do whatever you like. People ask me, I will always be polite. I just don't make them. They don't make sense. They don't make any sense. I have a book here on somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's on, is this it? Super forecasting, and it looks at people who are able to forecast, you know, military engagement and all kinds of stuff, and it's very interesting. But ultimately, there's no such thing as a logical pick. He's just picking. Anyways, so I'm not saying McGregor will win, although if you ask me, he's the guy. I think there's a very good chance he shocks people and wins. He doesn't have to win for what I'm telling you to be true. What I'm telling you is true. He is searching for disruption. He's searching for the flaws in the system. He's searching for the bugs in the system. Because much like Faraz's example that he gave me of wrestling, and all of a sudden one man comes along and does it a different way, and wrestling has to adapt. There is always something overlooked. And it's particularly things overlooked when it's only tested against itself. Tested against itself over and over and over. The reason it's so good is because it's live combat. You can't bullshit like some other martial arts. And no disrespect, I love them all. I'll train them all. I've trained almost every martial art I can find. I'm going to commentate in Russia. I'm commentating the World Wushu Championships in a few weeks. And so I will commentate Sanshao and Sanda. It's kind of the same thing. It's a full contact Kung Fu-based, Chinese-based martial art. And immersing myself in that for weeks is going to make me a better analyst. I'm going to see combat differently. It's beautiful. But boxing is tested against itself. It has holes. There are things that have been overlooked. There are. Will Conor and John Kavanagh and Roddy be the guys to find them? Yeah, maybe. And that's where we'll talk a little bit about this Paulie video that I watched. Again, I don't have footage. It is the video. I'm not telling you about something that you didn't know about. Many of you knew this video exists. McGregor compiled it to send to Showtime to say, hey, go ahead, use some footage. And they're like, nah. I'll tell you why not. Because the stuff he sent is mostly him kicking Paulie's ass. Sorry, Paulie. It's true. I've seen it. Also, the sun has shifted slightly. There's a picture up there, but that's okay. Yeah, it's mostly him kicking Paulie's ass. Sorry, Paulie, it's true. Now, I'm sure that there's lots of stuff of Paulie hitting Conor, but quickly, Paulie's not a dick. Well, maybe he is. I don't know him, but Paulie's not being a liar. He can very well believe that he got the better. I sparred with the Canadian boxing champions at my weight, 135 pounds, for like 2 or 3 years. Buzz Grant was the Canadian 135-pound boxing champ here, guy, and Sandy Seguris was the 135-pound female champ. She kicked the shit out of me for 3 years, and I started to box more and more, and I started to box the way that you box, And I always did better. And when I say better, it means like I had like 12 seconds of success here and 9 there, because they just beat the shit out of me all the time. It was because I did something different. And when I would leave after taking a shit kicking from these Canadian champions, I would go home, and on my way home, I would only be thinking about the great moments I had, all 3 of them. I didn't think about the 27 times they drilled me in the face. I didn't think about the times that they, put me where where they wanted me. I didn't think about the times they smashed my body. I thought about the 3 moments that I touched them. I'm not insane. Maybe I'm insane, but I'm just a person. That's what people do. If you saw the footage of Sandy kicking the shit out of me, you'd go, oh my God, she just shit kicked that guy. But if you went into my brain, it'd be like, I landed that one fucking right hand. All the way home on the subway, I'd be like, fuck, I caught her with that. So that's what we do. That's what people do, right? Sorry about however the sun is moving here. I can't control the sun. So that's what we do. So Paulie's not being a dick. And there is undoubtedly footage of Paulie touching up Conor. But a lot of the things for me were reinforced when I had the great pleasure of seeing this. Also, in my breakdown or analysis or whatever this piece is that I'm doing, that I shot in Vegas on Dana's request, that will air next week. I don't know where, and I don't know when, even if I knew, which I don't. I don't know if I'd be allowed, because I don't know how television booking things work like that. So I don't know. But in it, there may be some never-before-seen footage. And wouldn't that be fucking cool if my first big analysis gig, it's not my first, I've done breakdowns for, UFC.com and for Fight Pass, and it's been cool. But this is the biggest thing I've done. Wouldn't it be fucking cool if in that I got to have some, in it, we got to put some pieces that nobody's ever seen anywhere except for a collection of us. So that's cool. But it's a lot more of the same. And what do we take out of that? And what is the real analysis? So we started off big picture. We're looking to disrupt. What is it to disrupt? Well, we have to do it this way. We're looking for holes, bugs in the system of boxing itself. If we find those, how do we find them? The different thinking, how Floyd's brain works, fucking Polynesian navigators, and how they, I don't know if you saw that one. I was losing my mind a little bit. I think the pressure was getting to me. But so all this abstract thinking, and you take all of that, and the analysis itself. So I repeat myself a lot when I'm doing analysis, especially this type of analysis. Why is that? Because you have to live the idea. If I just say something you recognize, well, oh man, how did he win that fight? It was great timing. You can picture in your mind. You know what that word means, but you don't know what it really means. Explain to an 8-year-old, what is timing? It's very difficult. And we make this mistake often of recognizing words, but thinking that means we understand the concept. And we mostly do not. And for me to understand it with over and over, different angles, what does it really mean? Try it, live it. The counter right hand when you slip the left. I see that. I have to do that. I have to experience it. I have to see it many different ways. I have to figure out why it's that way. Look at it from 30,000 feet. What does it feel like? What's happening in the body? So you do it over and over again. And as you do it, it refines. You're refining. You're running the whole thing. People ask me, hey, how do you analyze fighting? You run the whole thing through and analyze it. And then you take a break and hang out and you pet Pluto and you go somewhere with your wife. And then you run it all through again. Different. And you run it through with a different lens. And then you feel it and then you train it. You have to live it. You have to be in your skin. You have to know what it really is. So that process, the beautiful thing about a YouTube channel for me, I had no idea how this was going to work out in so many great ways for me. But I did 8 hours of analysis with you guys. If you go back, McGregor, Mayweather 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. I did the analysis after I saw the Paulie footage. I've done stuff with David Mullen, sports psychology consultant, to put the mind of it. I've done stuff with Ram Dean, bring in an expert friend with different perspective. We talk together. And with all of that, now it makes sense. You can feel it. You don't just say, well, we try this, it'll mean this, he must do this, never this. That's where you get bullshit. And that's the bullshit that somebody who's understanding something on a higher level, like McGregor's attempting to, that's what you exploit. When he hears somebody say, oh, he's going to get counted all day, overextends, they don't understand. They don't even know why he's overextending. They don't even know how that developed. So quickly, what we saw in the 2 pieces you saw and in the 8 or 10 pieces I saw, McGregor is going to have 2 areas of dominance. And I think it's fundamentally you know what they are. You see them outside. And this is what we talked about. But again, I'm going to try to run it through the fucking system a few more times and see what other nuggets we pull out. Because when I got to Vegas to go do that analysis, I got off a 7-hour flight, went to the place, and I had a chunk window standing up there like, okay, do your thing. Which parts do you, what kind of, do your thing. Which was exciting. But had I not done those 8 hours and then the 40 hours to prepare those 8 hours, I wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have had really something tangible, like something I could taste, you know? And that's what you need. So to really understand, somebody might say, well, different distance. It's a different distance and a different timing. You know what those two words mean, but you don't really know what that means. So McGregor, we call it in MMA, and in boxing, and this will be part of the analysis. There are 4 ranges. You can see this on my breakdown when I originally broke down how Holly Holm would beat Ronda Rousey. She would battle out to the outside ranges. It's become something very standard in how people talk about fighting, and if I played any role in that, and I deep down believe I did, I'm happy. The goal is we want people to see how beautiful this sport is and how fascinating it is. You know? Share this idea, enrich the viewing experience. That's the real goal. That's my true goal. So, so we see that, you know, if Holly could keep it on the outside, battle her way out in tight. This is one range. You go talk to Dwayne Ludwig, and he's somebody I need to keep talking to these coaches to see the next layers. And Dwayne's doing some unreal stuff. Just watching his videos, like, it's so cool. He's almost making a different language. It's really cool. But so anyways, in here is one, and then in the pocket we get a little further out. You can imagine if I'm holding you, there's no range, and then there's a short range, whether we call this 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever we call it. Then when we go out here to where I can just touch you, that's the 3rd range, and then the 4th range is, now here's where some of the flawed thinking happens. In MMA, some people call this kicking range, right? In boxing, this is called 2 steps out. So this is language changes what you think. 2 steps out means it's a transitional range. I'll take 1 step to get to the point where I can touch you with this, okay? So it's almost a throwaway range. There's many ways to use it to flirt with range or manipulate you with range. Floyd is very good at using it as a place where he can slide in to get you and slide out to 2 steps out where you go swinging by him. So he touches, bam, you go back out, and this is what he sees, okay? So it's a game of popping from where I can hit you to where I cannot. And Floyd's the best in the world at it. So 4, 2 steps out for a boxer. It's where you cannot get hit. And if you think wrong, and in MMA, you call it the outer orbit, and you say it's kicking range, well, I know I can't kick. It's boxing. I'm not allowed to kick. So it's a throwaway range for me, right? No, it's not. Because from a place where I can't touch you, if I extend my torso, I can touch you, right? If I lean heavily over my front leg, I can touch you. If I crank up my core, I can touch you. McGregor can touch you from there with his mongrel dog Heinz 57 of a fucking Celtic cross left hand. So can Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson puts his feet in range 4. If we call it kicking range, we have limited the possibilities of this range, not only for the viewer to understand, but we've limited it for me. If I call it a kicking range, well, I'm not allowed to kick, so therefore it's a nothing range. No. It is a range where if my feet are planted, but I extend my torso, I can punch you. So if you look at Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, my breakdown of that, I talk a lot about how Tony's feet are in range 4, but his torso and his upper body goes into range 3, and he can hit you. Conor's going to do that. And no such defensive systems exist in boxing. Not really. I mean, they do, but not in your highly tuned lifetime, because fucking idiots don't do that. Because if they do that, they're overextending, and Floyd is the best counterpuncher in the world. So why? So that's great. So that would be the counter discussion that somebody would bring up. Well, great, you can do that against Dennis Seaver, but you can't do that against Floyd Mayweather. He's the best counterpuncher in the world. which is why we have to then go, what is that word? You're like, well, I know what a counterpuncher is. Tell an 8-year-old. Describe to an 8-year-old, what's a counterpuncher? Well, this guy, you know, makes... It isn't just after you punch, I get out of the way and I punch you back. That's the simple. That is how we'd explain it to an 8-year-old or my grandmother, and that's cool. But how? Why? What is happening? What is actually happening? You know, if that's what you need to know. So what's happening is Floyd sees some type of visual cue, and in what he's going to see is more subtle than anybody ever. You know, maybe not anybody ever. I'm exaggerating, but almost. Floyd's fucking vision is going to be so unbelievable that, and his lifetime of reaction, that when I do this, he knows exactly what the 6 possibilities are I may do, and he has an answer for all of them. He knows where each one of those 6 possibilities leads to another, where my weight is, and what I can do from there. And all of that happens at the speed in which he cannot even describe it. He cannot even tell you. He looks at footage of himself after and goes, oh shit, look what I did. Can't even tell you why, but what's happening is his brain sees it, and he's staring at the Monster Zim logo, so you can see the whole picture. And his brain over time has developed algorithms and routes that as he sees something, it means one of these things, which puts me in shape to do one of these things, or one of these things, or so you go. I'm going to use the simple. I can take. There's 5 choices that people take when that thing moves. Each of those 5 will lead to 5 more. And he knows all of those, and they're all ready. And each of the possible next 5 is one other thing that he can see. A little thing. You know? Do you see these little... Whatever that is, a breath. He wouldn't even always tell you. How'd you know that was... He just knows. But all of those people, all of those systems, are the same people within the paradigm of boxing. This narrow paradigm of boxing, where everybody has been told this is correct and this is wrong. This works against an orthodox fighter pretty well, but this doesn't. Never do this. The always is, and the nevers that we talked about earlier are what Floyd's, you know, roadmap of algorithms of what to do are, right? So now when McGregor, including at that distance, you know, he has to see it, and so that distance, the main thing that Floyd's brain is doing is going, when I pick up anything that says it's a straight left hand, I'm out of the way, and I'm countering him. Okay, that's where it's like he's the greatest counterpuncher. What's happening? Well, any indication, the smallest indication, when a fastball hitter sees a pitcher do something, he can't tell you, oh, his shoulder did this, and I knew it was going to be a changeup. He just knows. But it's based on this experience in these types of trees, spider webs of knowledge. So Floyd needs indication that the left hand is coming. And one of the great things, and I've talked about it, and I think others have talked about it, but it's not always brought up. You don't fucking see... One of the great adaptations of McGregor's fucking weird left hand is you don't see it coming. Paulie never saw it coming. That's the footage. That's the truth of that footage. Why did that left hand hit Paulie when it's like, they didn't fucking see it? There's no indication. With tells, whatever word you want to use, we use the same word over and over because then we know the word. Oh, it's a tell. There's no tell. When Conor throws his left hand, there's no tell. Okay, so we can use that. But what does that really mean? There's nothing. There's no shift in weight. There's no gulp of breath. There's no pump on anything. There's no... Or if there is, Dwayne, so I mentioned Dwayne Ludwig, this is one of his sayings. We show no flaws unless they're flaws we want to show. Right? So other people, this is off topic, but people kept saying to me, when Conor throws his left hand, you know, I keep seeing his right hand dropping. Is this a problem? People are saying that in training. That means he's showing it too much. If you caught it, too obvious. Like Alistair with his head over here. Too obvious. It's got to be so subtle. Such a small invitation. Dwayne Ludwig level. Subtle little invitation. If you caught it, if you go, Floyd, Conor's dropping his right hand, then he did it too much. He got too greedy. It's not going to work. Or maybe that's the game. It's like, oh, he thinks I'm going to fall for that. He thinks I'm going to fall for that. That is too obvious. You know what I mean? This is the poker game of it. And World Series of Poker winners lose to less experienced players all the time because they act unpredictable. They make bets that nobody ever makes. They make plays, ill-advised plays. You shouldn't have. Why'd you bet that on the river? You had a 2-7 off suit. Fucking 2 more 2s came up, bitch. You know? That's the game. So McGregor's left hand from the 4th range, kicking range, if you say it wrong, if you limit your thinking, the 4th range, the outside orbit, in boxing it's 2 steps out. That description alone, it's 2 steps out. Just that description changes the way you view that distance. Okay, when we're here, we'll land with him on the tight circle, then we'll move to 2 steps out. Think what that means to you, learning as a little boxer, a little kid. Then move out from landing in the tight circle, get your hook on him, and then move out to 2 steps out. It starts programming you. Safe. It's safe. It's where we're safe. It's good. We're good. Get out to 2 steps out. Then bam! McGregor rips you with it. That's what happened to Paulie. And I saw more than one. That's what I saw. In the footage that I got to see that was sent to Showtime. So I'm not some fucking insider. A lot of people have seen this. It's just, it hasn't got out there. Also, but you will hear dummies. Like, they'll be like, obviously there's no more footage. Or else. Well, there is. I saw it. Fucking saw it. It was so cool, let me tell you. That UFC Institute, Performance Institute is so cool. And I'm walking around there and I'm like adding whatever I can add to like the pieces that we did and chatting with people. And I thought, you know what they don't have? Resident analyst. UFC resident analyst. Someone who can add analysis to the ads and the sizzle reels and the roll-ins and like be in the building, like raising the level of understanding what's really happening. When people come in to train, go in there and see what's the resident analyst. We got to invent that role. Anyways, so it was really cool. And then, you know, now you're talking to people who are immersed in it every day, which is what I am. So my buddy Matt De La Rosa, this is one of these guys who you'll be like, yeah, UFC 53. He's like, oh, well, that was these 2 guys. You know, in the 3rd round this happened. It's like, how the fuck do you remember that? You know, I didn't see Ant. Ant is one of the dudes that runs Fight Pass. But, you know, when you're around, these are all people like me, right? So it was pretty cool. But then they're like, hey, you want to see the footage? Maybe we can use some for your piece. I'm like, we can use some never before fucking seen sparring footage? They're like, maybe. You know, we don't know. Maybe. So we might. Anyways, there's more of those left hands. And there's more of those shots at distance. There's more of those big crippling shots at distance. Bam! That shouldn't work. And again, we take the why. It's like, well, Conor can't land on him. He's not even a boxer. That's why he lands on him. The 10th or the 20th best boxer in the world is not going to beat Floyd Mayweather. So if Conor McGregor becomes the 100th best boxer in the world, what fucking good is that? He has to be something else. So he's being something else. He's a disruptor. He's trying to disrupt the art of boxing by finding the gaps in the system, the bugs in the program. You guys following me now? See, and I appreciate the people who've been sitting with me for 7.5 hours. But people be like, dude, you're repeating yourself. But do you see why I repeat myself? Bugs in the system. I could never have got to that term. I would have never got to the term, the bugs in the program of boxing. It took me 7.5 hours plus the 40 hours of prep to get to that concept. Conor McGregor is looking to find the bugs in the program. But it makes sense now, right? I found that example by fucking repeating myself hundreds of times. What the hell am I doing? I can't even believe this is my job. Somebody said, "What? Oh man, it sounded like you had a crazy hard 3 days." Are you out of your fucking mind? I talk about fighting all day. That's not a job. Oh man, I almost teared up there for a second. So, bugs in the program, that's what he's trying to find. And at distance, that is one of the places. And what else did we see on the footage you've seen? Pulling on the back of that, fucking cranking him, tying him up, pulling on him. There's some other bugs there. Some other bugs there. I saw some more of that. This is also something. So, I mean, for us, was just there twice in the last 72 hours. And so we're talking about it, and he's like, and for us, doesn't believe McGregor can win. I think he does now. And I think he has a thing coming up today where he's going to talk about, somewhere, you find it, it's probably on his YouTube channel, he'll have it somewhere. He's going to talk about that sparring footage. I told him he could tell you what say what I told him I saw and put analysis into that. But so I think he fucking believes now. I think he believes, because when we started talking about the wrestling in tight, and I said, you see Conor in more of that footage fucking roughing him up in there. And people are like, what about in the clinch? Bro, boxers are so good in the clinch. With other boxers. Boxers are good in the clinch with other boxers. Because there's a textbook of what is right and wrong to do in the clinch. Same as there is when you're standing at distance, this leads to this. Same as there is at 2 steps out. You can develop that sense of safety that you've had since you started training as a boxer at 8 years old. There's a rule book. If you talk to, this is some Bruce Lee shit. Bruce Lee, man. The 70s, this guy understood this. It's 2017, and people like me and Jack and fucking McGregor, Kavanaugh in real fighting, and people like Jackie and I and Lawrence and stuff over here in trying to analyze, not for television purposes, but out of deep curiosity. It's taken handfuls of other people 20, 30, 40 years to end up back, plus fighters, Kavanaugh, Matt Hume, Dwayne, Firas, all of these people, and we find ourselves right back where that fucking guy was in the 70s. We have new things, we understand things differently, but all we do is keep proving his principles, and that's the difference. Principles are real. Doctrines, belief systems, rules are not real. Never drop your hands. Always keep your hands up. Fucking Anderson Silva's one of the greatest of all time. He broke your fucking rule. You know? There's no rules in fighting. There are principles. There are concepts. You know? Gravity is always gravity. It's always going to do what it does. You know, you need oxygen to live. Like there are some structures that are eternal truths. At least for now. Maybe it turn out somebody doesn't need oxygen to live. That could happen. It's unlikely. But people change. You know, human beings change. So I'm talking to Firas about that, and inside that area, boxers grapple with other boxers like boxers. And in the mixed martial arts, which is a world of adaptation and innovation, constant thinking, constant growing, and being excited to find flaws. That's one of the great takeaways I take from being around George St. Pierre and hearing Firas's discussion of George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre is delighted when he gets submitted or caught with something, or you know, has some setback in training. He's delighted. He's delighted because he's found something to work on. That's the martial arts mentality. But the dogmatic mentality is it's like this. Do it like this until it's this. And if we all do it like that, then boxing is what it is. And it's a beautiful martial art. So in tight, in the footage that I saw of Conor with Paulie, Paulie's getting fucked up in there. And here's another one. People, when you see this footage, they're like, Paulie looked gassed. He's tired. Paulie's old and out of shape. Floyd's young and he never tires. Floyd never wrestles. Floyd never fucking wrestles. Take the best boxer, gymnast, sprinter, long distance runner, I don't care what super athlete, and fucking make them wrestle with somebody 3 weight divisions above them. McGregor's gonna be 175 pounds. Conor's gonna be Floyd's gonna be 153 pounds. Wrestle him and that's why that ref is there. What's okay to do? Is this? Oh, that is. Fucking reaming down on the back of this guy's head. That's okay. That's within the rules. I'd tire the shit out of this little man with that. All of a sudden, oh, Paulie looks tired. He's out of shape. Paulie was in the best shape in the world, and you get a guy that weight fucking yanking on you like that. Try it. Get your brother. Get your roommate. Fucking pull on each other like that. Yank. And for us, we talked about this a lot. And I think I've got him believing that fucking Conor can win this. We're like, yeah, you know, when you put somebody, and he's like, you know, hey, you tie up with a boxer and you feel them, you're like, yeah, okay. work your way out of it. He said, you tie up with a big, powerful wrestler, a judo guy, all these other martial arts, of which mixed martial arts takes. Again, Bruce Lee, take what works, discard what doesn't. Interesting thing about that. He would have later, if had he lived longer, I'm sure he would have said, but once you discard what doesn't, constantly revisit it. Constantly revisit it. Don't just discard it, because it may work again, because the dynamic of fighting will change during all this time. You know, I use many of the same examples all the time, but, you know, leg locks disappeared for a long time. It doesn't really work as soon as nobody's doing them. The next one is going to be submitting people from guard. People have discarded that. They'll be back. They'll be back. Because most people won't do it. And most people don't do it, you lose the sensitivity to it. And if you lose the sensitivity to it, and some badass guard player out there is moving up the level that you'd need new sensitivity, never mind your degraded sensitivity to it, he's going to sub you. So Bruce would have adapted that, no doubt about it. But that's what MMA does. And so in that clinch, he's going to be reaming and dragging and weighing and pulling and whatever is allowed. The ref was there for learning purposes. That's why that referee was there. That referee was there so John, Roddy, Conor, their whole team can learn what the outside realm of what's going to be acceptable is. What's that fucking limit? How much wrestling can we do to just to the limit where we'll get warned 1 or 2 times, but we won't lose anything? Or we'll even push it where we'll lose a point or 2 if we figure out that he's really fatiguing. And don't give me anything about Floyd's shape. He's a fucking 40-year-old, 153-pound man. When a 175-pound young man reams on your neck, his responsibility will be to not have that happen. And somebody's like, don't give away all the secrets, Black. There's nothing he can do about it now. No matter, if anything, if he sees this video, hey, Floyd, it's fucking cool that you're on my YouTube channel. If he says, you're the best, man. It is really fucking amazing. And it's amazing that you're taking on this incredible challenge. But this dude might beat you. That's fucked up. But still, congrats on a brilliant fucking career of your life. But don't beat women. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, I don't care, man. I don't care. There's nothing. What are you going to do? Learn how to counter wrestle a big, powerful man who has all kinds of concepts you don't understand in 6 days? No. There's nothing we could give away now. And that's another interesting tidbit. Someone's like, well, what if he knows? If he thinks he knows something, you use that against him. And that goes both ways. Obviously, my job has been to find and my interest has been to find ways McGregor could win this. How? How would he approach it? How is he approaching it? How is his team approaching it? What are the possibilities? That's been my entire driver of interest. It's also in line with what I do. But many of these concepts work both ways with Floyd. And when boxers go into MMA fights, they use these exact same concepts. Yes, it's a broader thing. I agree with Nate Diaz. Diaz, let him have it. It's a broader thing. But they're trying to just put it to the areas that these guys are weak, which is boxing. And so Floyd's goal will be to keep it between that long distance where Conor can do shit and Floyd is like, oh, shit, never do stuff. This is wrong. Boom, gets hit. Or inside where it's getting fucked up, pulled all over the place, get fatigued, little shots inside. And I saw somebody said, those little shots do nothing. Dude, and I was talking to Ryan Ford last night. Ryan Ford, he's going to be boxing for a world title in England coming up soon. He was an MMA fighter for many years. He boxes now. And we were talking about that. And I said, you know, Ryan, what do you weigh? He said, no, 205. I said, get a 180-pound man, pull down on him and just fucking drill him on here or here. Can you drop it? He's like, of course. It's like, the size is massive. Massive difference. I don't know why. It's so interesting. There's so many things that it's impossible to talk about them all. In any single aspect, we could have spent the 8 hours on. We could have spent the 8 hours of analysis just on what happens when a man of this massive size, how to use those advantages. There are ways that the smaller fighter fights the larger. Again, shout out, Faraz has looked closely at that. But there are ways the larger one does too. So, I'm all over the place this morning. I'm operating on very little sleep, and I haven't even had a coffee yet. I just really wanted to share these things with you guys. But to recap, I didn't see anything that others haven't seen, but I did see probably 10 or 12 more exchanges than most of you have seen. And what I can tell you is they are more of the same. McGregor smashing him from the outside and McGregor roughing him up from the inside. What I can also tell you is, don't fucking say to Paulie, Robin Black said you got your ass kicked, because those were carefully selected moments that Conor was like, yeah, you could show these to Showtime, or Robin Black, or they exist for that purpose. Dana may even release more of them this week. Those last ones sure did help get people excited about the fights. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I haven't spoke out of line here. I've told you what I saw. And I didn't tell you about the existence of something that you didn't already know about. And I told you about my great adventure. And yeah, again, I did some very cool work for the UFC. And watch my YouTube channel, Instagram at Robin Black MMA, and Twitter at Robin Black MMA. And I will tell you when this piece airs. But I have a feeling, because it's very big, that you won't need me to tell you. Also, if you've watched this all the way through, please subscribe to my channel. And if you're so inclined, we have a Patreon account that helps us travel to do interviews with people. It's all that money either goes to Mark, the producer, or travel costs. That's what it's all going to be spent on. It's Patreon, patreon.com/Robin Black. But yes, so I saw much more of the same, which over now 8 hours of analysis on the YouTube channel and maybe 40 hours of prep for that YouTube channel has made it very clear, I think, that McGregor's hoping to work his disruption angle, particularly far on the outside, in areas by using no tell to get to Floyd's chin in areas that other people don't, and by being wrong. Bam! It's wrong to overextend. It's wrong. Oh, yeah, I can tell you why Conor has no chance. He overextends with his left hand. Floyd is the greatest counterpuncher in the world. He will find that chin. Why does he overextend? What does it really mean? And what has he done to deal with the problem? Again, you don't discard the technique until you've figured it out. You don't overextend on the left hand's wrong. Why, coach? Well, you'll get countered. Okay. What if I got countered less over time? Well, I mean, you do hit other guys harder than they hit you. So let's do it. Wow, you're getting countered less and less and less. What are the details? Well, I crank back my left shoulder. I worked on the retraction of my left shoulder so that, you know, and you see it in the shots where a receiver or whatever whizzes by. But what about up against a higher level boxer? They'll see it coming. Geez, I better take away every towel so that you don't see it. And bang, it's on your chin. That's what he did against Paulie. What else would help with that? What if we fatigue him? Wow, he's in such good shape. Yeah, but he doesn't wrestle. Let's force him to wrestle. Let's wrestle him. Let's rough him up. That'll tire him. Punch him in the shoulders. Punch him in the hands. You know? Fuck him up. I'm way bigger. Okay, let's try that. Wow, you get counted even less. Now you can really pot shot at that distance. Those two things working together. There'll be others, many others, but those two things are going to be a primary. He's going to fatigue him. And again, you don't have to tell me Floyd doesn't tire, because it's irrelevant. Make Floyd fucking climb a mountain. He'll fatigue. Make Floyd power lift. He'll fatigue. And make Floyd fucking wrestle, and he'll fatigue. It's not the same. It's not that clinch work, that mobile clinch work, that game, that also, man, those little shots don't hurt. What if they do? You know why they play that game that way? More dogma, more doctrines, more belief systems. Those are irrelevant. They told Steph Curry he couldn't hit three-point shots from out there. They're irrelevant. What if they're not irrelevant? What if we developed ways to deliver power in there? Where would such ways exist? In the study of martial arts. Maybe in mixed martial arts. Maybe where we're forced to fight there a lot. Against the cage. Against the ropes. Tied up. Floyd doesn't do that. Floyd clinches in boxing. It's not the same. Fatigue that man. Then how much am I going to get countered? He's tired now. He's confused. This is the thinking. Doesn't mean he can do it. Doesn't mean he can do it. But it started with, we needed a disruptor mentality. We needed to approach it like disrupting fucking the record industry with Napster. That's how we had to do it. Netflix. We weren't going to beat Blockbuster by renting videos better than them. We had to build a new system. That was the approach. Then we had to find over time, be examining what Floyd is really doing, the truth of what he's doing. What's his brain doing? What does it really mean to be able to be so brilliant as Floyd? How does that program work? What is boxing really? Where are its flaws? Do its flaws exist? Where's it's had its blinders on? Where are the bugs in the system? And over my analysis, they've led by really doing it, not just, well, I don't know, maybe he'll be further out. Maybe he will, and maybe he'll end up being right. Then I had the great fortune of seeing this video. And seeing more smashing from the outside and more roughing up deep in the inside. And all that does is reinforce what we would have thought we'd believe. Those 4 ranges. Number 3, Conor's here. Floyd's at this distance where he can touch your chin. That's where he fucking rules the universe. He makes you not be there until he's there in range to touch you at this distance. So let's play everywhere else. Let's try to take that away from him. When he comes towards us, we'll move into him, weigh him down. When he moves away, we'll land on the way out. So it's pretty fucking cool. I want to thank Dana White for bringing me in. They literally said, Dana watched your analysis on YouTube and he wants you to do it on Fox. I'm like, I can't believe Dana watches my YouTube channel. Thank you, Dana. Fucking love you, man. And thanks for bringing me in. And thanks to Matt and Anthony and Mark and everybody, Laura. Everybody over there for making me feel welcome. So watch for my analysis. You'll hear about it. It's coming out this week. And yeah, I'm going to Vegas. So I go tomorrow. I go to LA. I'll have something to report. I'm going to see Freddie Roach tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday? Yeah. Going to see Freddie Roach Tuesday. Going to see Freddie Roach train George St. Pierre. So I'll have some more insight for you. So hopefully Tuesday night. This is my plan. Every night I'm going to come on YouTube and give you 10 or 15 minutes of what I learned that day. All week. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and then shortly before, and probably at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning after the Conor McGregor Mayweather disruption O-Rama mania. So I'm going to do that all week. Please subscribe. Please share my stuff. I really appreciate it. Dana, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. Thanks for bringing me to Vegas. I hope people really dig the stuff that we made. My man Matt and Anthony are on it right now. Enjoy the hostilities, my friends. Black out.